Hey there friendos, Newbornkilik here, welcoming you back to another awesome gaming related video. Today we have a very interesting challenge where Mario will be roughly the size of a small house. And we're going to try to play through Super Mario 64 and see kind of some of the challenges that arise from being so huge, basically. So I should get something out of the way. There is another YouTuber I actually got this idea from. Their name was Tetrabit Gaming. Great YouTuber. I'm actually just starting to get into them and some of their videos were very interesting to me, mostly the large and small Mario challenges. I thought it was pretty nice, so I wanted to give it a shot before I actually watched those videos, but that's beside the point. So, to be clear, I have not watched those videos yet. I am going in with basically no assistance. I have no idea what I'm doing. The whole thing was live streamed, so if you want to check out the live stream VODs, they'll be over in the gameplay channel. Link is, of course, in the description. So the parameters for this challenge are pretty casual at best, honestly. I basically want to see what each level has to offer, and I naturally need to get to the end of the game, so I have to have at least 70 stars. Being that we're super huge, it shouldn't be that difficult, right? Well, this is where chat comes in. Chat brought up the great idea that I should be the largest size Mario, which is, to be honest, awful. Being the largest size, we'll actually see in the beginning of the video here how awful that is, but for each Bowser fight, I am required to be the largest size of Mario. Now this includes the final Bowser fight where you need 3 consecutive hits, but we'll get into why that's actually really a bad thing once we get to that part in the video. Just a heads up, Kaze did make the mod. Kaze makes basically everything at this point, so you can check out his channel if you'd like to try out this mod for yourself. So I wanted to try and at least get 1 star on the largest size, which is actually recommended to not play, on that size, because it's, even as the creator says, it's basically unplayable, and I can attest that it is rather bad. But jumping out of the pipe, we actually find the first quirk of this mod, and that is simply that Mario's movement and speed and trajectories and everything is all scaled to his size. So when he jumps out of the pipe, he actually jumps all the way over into the moat. Now this is really important for the entire mod. Think things like getting bumped by the bullies or being shoved into the lava. You shoot straight up, and that's all scaled towards Mario's massive size, so it has its quirks, and it's rather interesting. Going over some of the other quirks, the camera is absolutely atrocious, and it's kind of interesting that the camera is actually so far back to put Mario into the whole shot that you can actually see his low poly mode while he's moving around. And I gotta say, love the mustache, my man. When we are in this absolutely massive size, we can't even walk away from a door because our interactive box actually hits the door and makes us go back out. So already entering the castle, we have a problem. How do we get away from these doors? I mean, you actually have to do a jump kick just to get away from a door, or else the game is basically unplayable. Mario also does not take fall damage while in large mode, which is very handy considering when you jump normally, you actually get embedded in the sand or snow, implying that that is a large enough fall to have taken damage. So basically every time that you jump, you would be susceptible to fall damage were that not very intelligently put into the game. Oh, and grabbing up a bomb shoots you backwards because science. So now that we've learned about some of the quirks, it's time to actually head into the first level, Bob-omb Battlefield. Because we are still the largest variant of Mario that we can possibly access at the moment, it's pretty simple to get to the top of Bob-omb Battlefield. I mean, it's literally like a backflip from the base of the mountain, and you're basically there. And the King Bob-omb makes it sound like it was such a horrific trek all the way up here, like it probably took us 12 months, when in fact, maybe 10 seconds tops, absolute maximum. So this is one of the areas where the scaling of Mario's movement to his size actually matters a lot. If you know anything about the first star in Super Mario 64, it is the fight against King Bob-omb, so naturally we decided to go and try that out first. However, our hitbox is so massive, it's very simple for him to grab a hold of us, while it's very difficult for us to grab him because our attack box is apparently the size of Mario's toes, which doesn't really leave us a whole lot of room to work with. On top of that, the fact that we get yeeted about 12 miles away when he throws us, but when we toss him, it's very lackluster, only going maybe a couple feet in front of us. It leads to some pretty interesting moments. Really strong boy there, aren't you, Mario? Really been hitting the gym. Well done. This took a lot longer than I want to admit, but eventually we did obtain the first star from King Bob-omb. It was at this time that I decided to almost permanently, except for the Bowser fights of course, change my size to ×4, which is the middle option of the large variants. And this is when I realized the game is infinitely more playable at 4 times size as opposed to maximum size. Mario's just kind of the right amount of floaty, whereas when he's massive, he's very floaty. The camera's always battling with you. I mean, the camera's always battling with you regardless, don't get me wrong, but it's so much worse when the camera has to be all the way out here just to get you in the entire shot. Not to mention, the background actually comes through the stage, completely blocking your vision. I would label that as a quirk. A frustrating quirk. Other than the star from the King Bob-omb, Bob-omb's Battlefield is quite easy. The star on the island you can just do a side flip to, although apparently it's a lot more precise than I thought because I was only able to do it a single time. The red coins are nothing special to get. In fact, they're quite easy, considering just running by something a lot of times will allow you to pick it up accidentally, so getting coins is really no problem. And the star behind the Chain Chomp's gate you can just clip into and just get. Easy. Another interesting quirk about this game is that cannons are all but useless. They do shoot Mario in a direction, however aiming it is basically impossible. As you can see right here, you're really not aiming at anything, you're just kind of aiming down at the ground and hopefully you're roughly in the right area. And with that, I decided to move on to Cool Mountain. And first off, the very first star is one of the most difficult in the entire level. Sliding down this slide is insane. It's actually super difficult. As I mentioned before, Mario's speed and distance of like throwing and stuff is scaled to his size. So as you can imagine, a course that was made for small Mario or medium-sized Mario, scale that up ×4, give the speed a ×4 modifier as well, and you're gonna be shooting off the side a lot. I had to big brain this star like no other. Now you could fall all the way down to the end there, which I managed to do, but I had so much speed going in, I pinballed all over the cave at the bottom and shot off the side, so I decided to just take the secret exit, do a little cheatsy-weetsy, and that star was mine, no problem. Actually, it was a lot of problem, but we got it. Now the red coins in Cool Mountain were not half bad, honestly. It was at this point that I realized that obtaining 100 coin stars in certain stages was going to either be very difficult or just almost impossible. For example, a lot of the coins in Cool Mountain are on the slide, which is basically a death trap at this point. We also really can't race the penguin because the penguin doesn't like to be cheated against and you don't get that star. Now, skipping too much of the track, I seem to remember that also triggering the penguin to complain about you cheating. Not that I could get past the last stretch of the race anyway, Mario bouncing around like a pinball and whatnot. In theory, it's technically possible, assuming that the penguin isn't, well, looking in your general direction as you skip 98% of the course. Now, Cool Mountain was when I noticed another one of the quirks to this mod, and that is that Mario will find a way to slide off of absolutely everything. This is one of the most obnoxious things, especially when you're trying to go through a, narrow area such as we are right here. It can be very, very frustrating as you slip off multiple times. Now this is probably the worst incident of this happening, but it definitely happened in a couple areas such as Tall Mountain, but I definitely remember it happening a couple of times on TinyHuge Island as well. And with that, we head over to Jolly Roger Bay. Now the secret star in Jolly Roger Bay is actually quite easy to obtain. The hitbox is a little bit weird, but honestly, it's not so bad. Swim into the coins and you're good to go. Now I know this footage is a little bit confusing probably, but we'll get into exactly how Mario's hitbox or hurtbox works in just a little bit. For now, on to Jolly Roger Bay, and I have to say, swimming is absolutely the worst thing ever. Unlike most things that are scaled on Mario's size, you would think you'd swim faster, when in fact, swimming for whatever reason is not scaled at all, and you swim at normal Mario size. I have no idea why it's that way, but it is. This basically makes water levels a torturous nightmare of boredom. Jolly Roger's Bay is no exception. Ironically, Blast of the Stone Pillar, one of the most difficult stars in the game to get lined up normally, is very, very simple. Basically, you just get a good jump, which you can actually do just straight out of the water, and you'll grab the ledge. Very simple. Or you can take the awesome way and go from pillar to pillar with a single jump, and then mess it up at the end, just like me. So this is a great time to talk about Mario's hitbox and exactly how large it is. Watching this footage back, there's really only one place that hitbox could be. Which, as chat has so gently put into words, that is the hurt box of most people, now isn't it? The treasure of the ocean cave is simple enough, but getting there's a huge pain in the butt because you slip on, again, literally everything along the way. You can still get the eel to come out and play, but it's a bit tricky. I couldn't really get him to just come out. I had to kind of do it on accident. I just kind of ran my body into him, accidentally of course, went up for some oxygen, came back down, and he was gone. We take those. Other than that, Jolly Roger Bay is just kind of slow and boring. I'm not gonna get 100 coins here because there are plenty of faster, less obnoxious stars to obtain. Let's move forward onto Whomp's Fortress. Whomp's Fortress is probably the easiest stage of all. The most difficult star, Blast Away the Wall, can be clipped into. Shoot into the Wild Blue, which is the one that you're supposed to use the cannon for, can just be jumped to easily. The Whomp King proves very little challenge, unless you're extra large, in which case he has a very, very large habit of making you bonk and fall all the way off. And the tower is a complete joke, although you will slide off more times than not trying to get up there just because the roof is so slippery. And like I said, you slip on literally everything. What is that, a small pebble? Better slip on it. Also, I'm pretty sure I tripped over a Goomba earlier. There was one kind of interesting quirk about this level, and that's that I couldn't seem to grab onto the owl unless I was either normal size or smaller. I would just kind of bounce off of him randomly, and I don't really know what that means, but we were super disappointed about it, and I managed to bamboozle him, had him grab me when I was tiny, grew to epic proportions, and the owl carried me to victory. We didn't even really need the owl because we could have just jumped into the cage, but where are the memes in that? Peach's Slide can be a little bit tricky with all the speed that you manage to get very easily, but it's totally doable. You can get both of the stars there, no problem. Finally, we are onto the first Bowser battle, Bowser in the Dark World. I decided to just skip all of the red coins here as they'd be incredibly tedious. Overall, the level doesn't really have too much cheese that you can pull off on it. It's relatively vertical, pretty well the same, just a lot faster. Now, as I mentioned before, I will be doing all of the Bowser fights as the biggest Mario possible, so this is roughly what we're looking for with the Bowser challenges. They're actual challenges, I guess I should say. But with a well-placed toss, we can find that... oh. Mario's hurt box collides with Bowser's as he throws Bowser. You know, for some reason, I feel like that might be vaguely important later. I can't think of why I would feel that way. It's probably nothing. Honestly though, the worst part about this fight was the fact that you basically have to use Mario Cam, which is trying very, very hard to stay behind Mario. Now this means the camera just kind of goes crazy because as you're trying to turn, the camera definitely wants to stay behind you. While Lakitu Cam, there's a trend that you're going to see in which Lakitu just kind of takes the day off and starts to just leave. That kind of begins in this stage. With this key, we do have access to the downstairs area. However, I figured we'd go by Big Boo's haunt first and see what kind of trouble we can get into there. This is one of the first times that we're actually introduced to this springy box, and grabbing it is a lot of fun. Yeah, it was something on... oh my god, what have I done? Oh, hey, hey, Big Boo. You go Noom. Very Noom. But this also gave me another idea. I could just jump to the top of the mansion, so I did. And I defeated the Boo up there without even entering the mansion. While we're here, this is actually a pretty good time to bring up something that's kind of interesting. Given that all of our animations are scaled to Mario's size, when you leave a level, it yeets you out of the level. Lose all of your health in a level, it chucks you out. In the original game, it throws you out pretty rough, but if you lose on maximum size, have fun being in the next county. I mean, in this case, I'm all the way over here on the door frame. I literally got yeeted halfway across the courtyard. The book star is very easy. You just kind of jump up there. I know that it's not the case, but I like to imagine that this piano that terrorized our lives is actually scared of us now because we're roughly 4 times the size of it. It does activate if you get close enough, but you have to be really, really close to it. Too close, in fact. Fight me! The most difficult star in this entire stage is the first one where you have to traverse and find all the boos. This is because there are some rooms with very, very narrow corridors and low ceilings, basically robbing you of any kind of jumping, which would make the platforming in them a lot easier. With this in mind, you can actually bump things in the room above you. And here I am just trying to exterminate a couple ghosts. Also, something I never really noticed, but the camera's pulled up so far it's pretty easy to see, there's actually a painting of a boo over the main door that leads into the mansion. I never noticed that. So if you remember, we had some problems with Lakitu getting kind of far away from Mario in the Bowser fight. This is so much worse in Big Boo's haunt. Basically, you have just a little bit of time to use Lakitu camera inside the mansion before he just drifts away. Like, he just leaves. Is it actually getting further away? It's actually getting further away. All right, well, my Lakitu's just leaving. Well, I at least hope he enjoys his day off. I certainly didn't need him here. I don't really want to play in... Oh my god, what are we playing? Is this a game for ants? While we're talking about the camera in Boo's merry-go-round is awful. The room is too small, basically, to see the entirety of Mario in, so the camera just goes behind the wall. The only way to remedy this is to use Mario Cam, and Mario Cam is the one that shoves you around all over the place and is very vomit-inducing. Finally, down into the basement, we'll catch Mips with relative ease and go into Lethal Lava Land. Lethal Lava Land brings up an interesting set of problems. Apparently, in Lethal Lava Land, there's technically no solid ground, it's all lava. This doesn't really matter, considering when you hit the lava, you are propelled up into the air anyway, so the need for a floor is basically null and void anyway. But what this does mean is that the camera can just go down infinitely, and it does. If you hit the lava, it shoots down while you shoot up. Now this is relatively easy to fix. You just kind of tap the camera button a couple times and it at least roughly follows Mario until he gets back into bounds and everything's good to go. Most of the stars here are collectible. I didn't get the 100 coin star, but I got the rest of them. The 8 red coins are easy. You just run around the platform, super simple. The bullies can be a little bit tricky just because they knock you back so far, and you only knock them back the normal amount, so one mistake is about all you get, depending on where you are on the platform. And if you mess up, you're going up. The mistakes on this level are pretty punishing, mostly by annoyance, not really by death. I thought it was kind of interesting. I actually got around most of the level by damage boosting completely on accident. I'd slip off of a platform and then just go wherever I wanted to. It worked out all right. A quick diversion to the Vanish Cap. Relatively simple area, but those small platforms are very simple to fall off of, but Vanish Cap obtained, no problem. The 8 red coins would be tedious, so I decided to skip them. I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't be able to get them, but no. I don't want to. Heading back into Lethal Lava Land, we must enter the volcano. This is the problematic part of the level. It wouldn't be so bad, but there are ceilings all over the place, there's narrow platforms, and just the slightest touch on lava means you're shooting directly up into the air, into what is essentially the void. This wouldn't be so bad if you could just kind of land exactly where you wanted to. Mario is constantly fighting you on the way down. He randomly changes angles. I have no idea why he would be changing them. I'm guessing he's hitting some kind of collision or something. Whatever the reason is, it's exceedingly annoying. But there was one clip from this area I wanted to share with you I think you'll get a kick out of. Wait, let's use our brain. We don't use our brain for that exact reason. Finally, heading through Shifting Sandland, the final level that we'll be going through today. Shifting Sandland has a lot of instant death traps, which is not good given our rather large speed and rather large size. One slip, that's it. You get sucked away, and you're just done. As if that wasn't bad enough, there is a box at the very beginning that's just begging to be picked up. So I did what any rational adult would do, and I picked it up. I'm gonna grab this box. I know it's a bad idea, but I really, really want to. Why have I done this? This is... Okay. Is that a 10? Can that be a 10, guys? Please, can I get a 10? Getting the first star is probably the easiest, honestly. You just hit the bird and grab the star. Easy as always, but with your massive hitbox, you could just jump up and grab it from him. And you know, I don't remember this shimmy being quite so intense, but it is. Every star in this area can be collected, albeit it is a bit tricky, especially when using the shell. You have so much speed, it can be very difficult to control. While we're in this area, I found out that apparently the bird can steal your hat during the cutscene, which I did not know was a thing he could do. But that's fine, we can literally jump up and get it back. You would dare challenge Newbornkilik? So I guess we should talk about the inside of the pyramid, and oh boy, okay. Small area. I'm sure you've guessed it, the camera's not gonna be great in this area. It's small, it's enclosed, there are some death traps, but overall, as long as you're careful and patient, everything's fine. The fact that you spawn back in this area when you re-enter the portrait really helps us out here. It's not nearly as bad as the volcano from Lethal Lava Land, and the hands are basically the same. Overall, all the stars are obtainable. And with that, I have a lot of footage of a rather large Mario to look through. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I do hope you enjoyed part 1 of this 2-part series. I have intended to go through the rest of the levels in the next part. I'm going to hopefully have that out next week. But if you did enjoy it, please do consider leaving a like, letting me know, showing some support, some positive words always make me feel real good, so I do appreciate it, of course. If you'd like to check out the highlights of this, then of course that will be uploaded onto the gameplay channel alongside this, along with the full VODs if you'd like to watch the entire experience for yourself. Again, thank you so much. I do want to shout out my patrons right now. They've been so amazing as to support me. If you are a patron, there will be a behind the scenes released alongside this video as well, so check your patron page. And if you'd like to have access to that as well as the other behind the scenes videos that we've done so far, go on over, show some support, and get some extra content along the way. Anyway, thank you so much yet again. I am Newbornkilik, and I will see you in the next one. I'm out.